Welcome to the Bronx, New York, where the Blue Jays will take on the Yankees, a 3-game series here at Yankee Stadium. And the Blue Jays need to turn things around in this ballpark. They've lost 16 straight games, including a 3-game series earlier in the season. And every one of these Blue Jays understands they've got to get their fortunes turned around in this ballpark. And here's the lineup to try to do it tonight. Jose Reyes, top of the order, has been good against Hiroki Kuroda, tonight's Yankee starter. He's 11 for 23 with 6 extra base hits. And then the former Yankee, Melky Cabrera, in the third spot tonight, has hit well against his former team this season. A .351 average with a home run, with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. And the big thing about Melky Cabrera is he's back with the Blue Jays, and he's swinging a red-hot bat. He had a great run at the homestand for the Blue Jays. They are set to take on Hiroki Kuroda, who's been the Yankees' best starter lately.
21st start of the season for Kuroda and 200th of his major league career. 6-6 with a .388 earned run average. Last start, no decision versus the Cincinnati Reds. He allowed no earned runs for the first time since August of 2013. For his career versus the Blue Jays, he's 5-3 in 9 starts. Last faced the Jays on June 25th, beating them 5-3. Kuroda here in this stadium versus the Blue Jays, 3 starts. He's 3-0. Hasn't given up but 3 earned runs in 21 innings against the Blue Jays. They're in tough tonight against Kuroda.
In the outfield, there's a lot of speed with Brett Gardner in left, a couple of Gold Glovers, Jacoby Ellsbury in center, Ichiro Suzuki in right. The infield, Chase Headley, just acquired from the San Diego Padres, makes his 3rd start at third base. Jeter's back in the lineup tonight, teaming up with Brian Roberts up the middle. First baseman is Brian McCann, making his 6th start, and behind the plate, Francisco Cervelli will handle Hiroki Kuroda tonight.
Just the 3rd start for Chase Headley, the Gold Glover. He had a .976 fielding percentage in winning that Gold Glove in 2012. What an addition for the Yankees. He's already had 1 game-winning hit.
He came in his first day in a Yankee uniform. First pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike, and we are underway. It is a beautiful night at Yankee Stadium. Jose Reyes still lives in the New York area. A chance to spend some time at home last night. Reyes, we mentioned his numbers against Kuroda. He has hit well against Hiroki Kuroda. He's just one of those guys that matches up well with what he sees. He's 11 for 23 against the Yankee right-hander.
Got to take that splitter away from him. It's been very good for him lately. You got to make sure he throws it for a strike.
There it is right there, and he laid off. Very difficult pitch to lay off of. You see it out of the hand. It looks like a fastball, and then that split finger grip makes it dive down low.
And a lot of times out of the strike zone. So the lefties, especially the lefties, are going to have to lay off of it.
There's a little looper. This is trouble. It's going to get down in front of Brett Gardner. A leadoff single for Jose Reyes.
Yankees have a lot of speed in the outfield, especially in left field and center field. You have to almost place the ball out there perfectly. Look like another splitter down and away, and Reyes chops at it. Throws it out into left field in front of Gardner, in front of Ellsbury. They were playing him shallow, and that still wasn't good enough for the game's first hit.
So that'll stretch Reyes' hit streak to 4 straight. Munenori Kawasaki has been up and down in the order tonight against the right-hander. He's in the 2 spot. Chase Headley, the 3rd baseman, anticipating a bunt in this situation. I don't know that the Blue Jays can give away outs this early in the game, especially this part of the order.
John Gibbons has shown that he doesn't like to bunt in this situation right here. You got some speed at first base. In Reyes, they could try and start the runner if they want to. I don't think they're going to sacrifice.
Kawasaki takes his strike. Kawasaki batting .272 for the season.
One of the things that the Blue Jays have practiced on, and I've seen them do it on the road, is square around and fake like you're going to sacrifice and then pull the bat back and swing away. Just trying to get people moving on the infield.
Pitch is outside. It's a ball and a strike. Kawasaki looking down at the 3rd base coach. There are the numbers for Kawasaki. Ball and a strike. Reyes at first with the leadoff single. Goes after that high fastball and swings right through it. The Blue Jays haven't won a game here at Yankee Stadium since August 29th of 2012. 16 straight. John Gibbons, the manager, shaking things up a bit. Blue Jays did not take batting practice on the field before this game. And he told us this in Toronto. He said, why not? We got to change something. Can't go in there and just do the same thing. We've lost 16 straight.
No propaganda. That's what he was telling us today, that Yankeeography that goes on. You're right. How much batting practice do you need on this field? Stay fresh. Hit in the cages.
Kawasaki strikes out, chases that pitch away. Normally the Blue Jays hit about 5:45 and they're on the field taking batting practice, and this was the ballpark early at 5:45. No Blue Jays to be found anywhere, and there's Yankeeography up on the scoreboard, and basically they're chronicling the great history of this wonderful franchise, and the Blue Jays were taking batting practice inside, underneath, behind the dugout, and they had no idea that Yankeeography was being played out on the field.
Especially the young guys who got their first taste of Yankee Stadium today.
Melky Cabrera got his start with the Yankees. Well, he's had a good season. .311 batting average. He is among the leaders in many of the offensive categories. He is second in hits with 130 hits.
And right now he is hitting everything that is thrown to him. You try throwing him a fastball, he's on that. Breaking ball, he's been on that. He's been using the whole field. Driving in some big runs for the Blue Jays.
Naoki Kuroda working out of the stretch. Melky Cabrera is 5 for 12 against the Yankee right-hander. So .417 average. Right now Cabrera is in such a good groove that he has really taken a lot of pitches. He had 3 doubles in the game yesterday. Scored a run, drove in 2. Just continues to move up in the batting average race. He is currently 8th in the American League. Fouled out of play. 2 balls and a strike. Jose Bautista is on deck. Melky Cabrera batting third tonight as John Gibbons has to move his players around without the 3 big bats that are on the disabled list. He has really had to be creative putting his lineups together. Tonight Bautista drops into the cleanup spot. Deanna Navarro hits 5th.
Yesterday it was Cabrera and Bautista 2 and 3. Today Kawasaki up there trying to get some more base runners on when Cabrera and Bautista come to the plate.
Reyes is 19 for 20 in stolen bases. Francisco Cervelli, the catcher for the Yankees, has a great arm. He's caught 5 of 14 base stealers so far. Just in case Reyes is thinking about running. Hiroki Kuroda in this ballpark is 21 and 12, pitching at home since he joined the Yankees. That's over a span of 43 home starts. Bouncing ball over the first baseman into right. Reyes steps on second. He's headed for third. Suzuki gets the ball back to the infield. Melky Cabrera continues to hit. We mentioned the Blue Jays are 0 for 16 in this ballpark, and when you look at the numbers, they are pretty ugly. Offensively, they haven't done much against the Yankees. There are the numbers. No wins in their last 16 games. The ERA almost 5.5 compared to New York's, and then the hitting. It really hasn't done much either.
They've almost doubled them in runs. The Yankees over the Blue Jays. The earned run average almost half. of what Toronto has pitched in. And they've lost games in extra innings. They've lost games late. They've had leads and then lost them. Every way conceivable, the Blue Jays have lost games to the Yankees here, and that's got to end.
Cervelli out to give the infield. The defense should Cabrera break for second. I don't think he's going to run with Bautista at the plate. One out. Blue Jays with a chance to get out in front early. Kuroda misses with that first pitch. Bautista has just 2 hits against Kuroda. He's 2 for 13, but both of those hits have been homers.
Both of his last few games, he's starting to look like Bautista in the first half. Getting that front foot down, his timing has been a lot better, and he's starting to hit more line drives.
That's a good sign. He lays off that inside pitch. Couple of close pitches inside. He didn't offer it. Jose homered on Wednesday. His first home run since the 2nd of July. 18th of the season. Three and 0. Yonder Navarro is on deck.
Let him swing right here. I think right after Edwin Encarnacion got injured, it seemed to me, just watching, Bautista tried to do a little bit too much offensively. If you remember that road trip out to the West Coast, Jose looked like he was trying to hit the ball for home runs, opening up just a little bit too quickly.
3-0 pitch. He had the green light, drives it deep to left. Gardner back at the track, at the wall. Goodbye, home run. 3-run homer for Bautista on a 3-0 pitch.
That's how you do it right there. On that West Coast, it looked like he was trying to hit home runs. Lately, looks like he's been trying to hit line drives, and he's starting to scald the ball, hit long home runs, and hit the ball hard that time. John Gibbons gives him the green light. Jose Bautista says thank you very much and gets a fastball to his liking.
John Gibbons has just canceled batting practice for the rest of the season. 3 hits in the first inning and 3 runs. Jose Bautista, home run number 19. Yonder Navarro.
When you've got a guy swinging like this, you got to let him go. Looked like a sinker on the inner half, fastball, and Jose full extension.
Bautista batting in the cleanup spot, cleaned up. 3-run home run. He now has 59 RBIs for the season. His last 5 games, he's been swinging it like he did earlier. Off the end of the bat. McCann dives for it, and Kuroda gets there as Roberts throws him out. Brian McCann, the catcher, playing at first base in the absence of Mark Teixeira.
Yeah, Teixeira's hurt. He's on the active roster. They're trying to decide if he has to go on the disabled list or not. Brian McCann's been playing first. They haven't lost since they put him over there. You can see he hasn't played there a lot because that was an easy play for Brian Roberts, the second baseman.
Brian McCann, not really sure how far to range to his right dove for that ball and went right under him, but Roberts was standing there waiting. Juan Francisco, he had a big day yesterday. He had 4 RBIs, and that was just one off his career high. He had a triple in the second, a 2-run home run in the third, and a 2-run single in the fifth. There's that splitter he gets a piece of and fouls it off. It's a ball and a strike.
Got to make it a strike right there. That home run by Bautista is taking the air out of the ballpark here, hasn't it?
Boy, it sure has. Yankees haven't scored any runs lately, and to be down 3-0 before they bat is a big deficit. Ground ball through the hole. Jeter couldn't make a play on it. Francisco has the 4th Blue Jay hit in the first inning.
Keeps on swinging a hot bat. Yesterday he seemed to get it going, and early long drive. First pitch he saw from Ruby De La Rosa off the glove of Jackie Bradley Jr. Center field. He's going to leg it around for third for a triple, and then homers into the bullpen, a 2-run home run. He goes down and gets that fastball. Then this one is gorgeous right here. Sinking fastball away, just clubs it the other way and gets a couple of RBIs out of that. If he can go the other way like he just did right there, they pitch him away and he shoots it the other way, that's a good sign.
2 outs, Colby Rasmus takes one down and away. Rasmus is the DH tonight. John Gibbons prefers to have Anthony Gose in center field defensively in this big ballpark. Upstairs, it's 2-0. Blue Jays are back to their former ways of taking a lot of pitches and working Kuroda over here in the first.
Get him over the plate. They were all, I thought, on that, especially on that road trip where the Blue Jays just came off of that California-Tampa road trip, that they were a little bit over-aggressive. I think everybody wanted to do a little bit too much.
That's fouled off the catcher's glove as Rasmus offered it that fastball.
You will find that from time to time where a couple of regulars are knocked out of the lineup because of some injury, and the other guys feel they have to pick up the slack, so they try and do too much. They swing at pitches that they're not normally used to, or be a little bit over aggressive, swinging at pitches out of the strike zone. They seem to have calmed down just a little bit.
Fouled straight back into the second deck. Colby Rasmus has had a lot of trouble hitting in this ballpark. He has played 17 games in his career here at Yankee Stadium. He is 8 for 60. That's a 133 average.
And he should be built for this ballpark here with right field, the short porch, and he's a player that really likes to pull the ball. He hasn't had a lot of success either against Hiroki Kuroda.
Just 3 for 31 against Kuroda. There's that very inviting short porch in right. And sometimes, much like left field at Fenway Park, you get too conscious of trying to hit home runs.
Pitchers tend to keep the ball away from lefties here.
There goes the runner, and Rasmus strikes out. The inning is over, but Jose Bautista on a 3-0 pitch from Hiroki Kuroda connects his 3-run home run, number 19 of the season, and the Jays are up early. And he runs lately. Brett Gardner has always been tough on the Blue Jays, and you can see he's been tough on Mark Buehrle as well. This lineup does not set up well for Mark Buehrle. Gardner 11 for 24 against Buehrle, 4 extra base hits, and he's driven in a bit. And then down in the bottom of the lineup, Ichiro in the 7th spot. He too has hit over 400 against Mark Buehrle, and a lot of at-bats. 24 hits off of Mark Buehrle.
Big numbers. Time to change that for Mark Buehrle. Got off to an incredible start, going 10-1 in his first 12 games this season, but he's winless since June the 1st. Now, in those 8 starts since then, he has pitched with the lead 5 times. A couple of times the bullpen has blown a game. 2 other games he's pitched well, but the Blue Jays were shut out.
Brett Gardner, the left fielder, falls behind 0-1. Now it's a ball on the strike. Gardner has really worn out the Blue Jays throughout his career. He's got a .342 career batting average against the Jays. You know what you got to do in a situation like this?
Throw it right down the middle.
Tell him what's coming. He won't know if you're telling the truth or not.
Just that slight hesitation, right? And then he's going to swing and miss.
Pops this one up. It's playable. Goins the second baseman out. Bautista coming in. The right fielder calls for it, and Brett Gardner is retired. Let's take a look at the defense behind Mark Buehrle, and there's always going to be a lot of fly balls when Buehrle is pitching, so the outfield, Cabrera, Ghost, and Bautista should be on their toes tonight. Kawasaki continues to play at third base. Reyes and Goins up the middle. Francisco making his 6th start at first. Indiana Navarro works very well with Mark Buehrle.
John Gibbons was telling us that Anthony Ghost is their best defender. He's got to have him out there, especially with Mark Buehrle on the mound. He's a fly ball pitcher, so he wants some extra speed in center field here.
Derek Jeter, the captain of the Yankees, goes after the first pitch and hits it into center field. Derek Jeter, first pitch swinging off of Buehrle. It's a 1-out single.
How many times have we seen this over the last 20 years? He goes up there, he's very aggressive. He swings at that first pitch a lot and sends this one right back through the middle.
For 3,414 hits now for Derek Jeter. He is first on the all-time Yankee hit list, and this is the updated hit list. He is just 5 hits behind Carl Yastrzemski for 7th on the all-time leaderboard.
That would also tie Yastrzemski for 3rd place on the American League's all-time hits list. How about that? 3rd all-time in the American League.
Bound for the Hall of Fame, no question about it. Jacoby Ellsbury, center fielder, swings at that changeup, and Buehrle's ahead 0-2. Ellsbury in his first season with the Yankees has gotten off to a pretty good start. .289 average, 8 homers and 47 RBIs.
Well, he offers great speed also. He's got 28 stolen bases and plays a great center field. Ellsbury this year has only made 1 error for the Yankees out in center field.
He's in the prime of his career. He'll turn 31 on the 11th of September. First round pick of the Red Sox. Coming into this season, a career .296 hitter. Buehrle missed outside. Mark Buehrle has not beaten the Yankees. He has just 1 win in his career against New York. He is 1-11 against the Yankees. That 1 win came right here in the Bronx while he was pitching for the White Sox. Another changeup, and Ellsbury strikes out. You never really get a good feel about what to look for against Mark Buehrle because he's got a wide assortment of pitches.
And he's very good at reading bats, and when he's reading bats, he's got all kind of pitches that he can use to try and get you out. The fastball, changeup, his second most pitch that he likes, the curveball, he'll cut it. The slider, he's using that fastball a little bit more this season. He'll cut it into the right-handers. He'll also try and backdoor it to the right-handers on the outside part of the plate. He's just got so many different ways to get you out.
Carlos Beltran, the DH, grounds it to third. Kawasaki looks at second, and they get Jeter on the force. Good inning for Mark Burley. Yankees trail 3-0 as we go to the second here in New York.
On Sportsnet, brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, and by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Bit of a shot of the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor. Gorgeous evening here in New York. It's 27 degrees and full house here in Yankee Stadium. Lots of people on hand to see the first of the 3-game series. Ryan Goins, the second baseman in the 8th spot. It'll be Goins, Ghost, and Reyes for the Blue Jays. Ryan had a couple of hits in yesterday's game. He was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Swinging the bat with a little more confidence second time around.
A little bit more strength also. He's starting to get some extra base hits. Looks like he's hitting the ball a little sharper than what we saw him earlier. Pitchers are going to try and knock the bat out of his hand. They're going to use the fastball. There was one right there.
Hiroki Kuroda gave up the home run to Bautista. It was the 14th home run he surrendered this season. First inning home run. Three and 1 to Goins. Goes to follow. Up the middle, Brian Roberts to his right. One down. Hiroki Kuroda uses a lot of fastballs, but he's always looking to set up that splitter.
You know, he's a lot like Mark Burley in that he's got a lot of things that he can go to when he needs to get outs. There's the fastball about half the time. He's got a nice little slider. The splitter, I think, is his best pitch. Batters are hitting just 185 against that splitter this year, and he throws it about 5 or 6 miles per hour less than the fastballs. But it looks like one, but it just drops off the table, and he's throwing his off-speed pitches a lot better lately.
Anthony Gose was 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt in yesterday's game. Off the ground, right to Brian Roberts. 2 ground ball outs here in the second. That's when Kuroda is at his best, when he keeps that ball on the ground. He's got that splitter working. He's got his fastball moving, and that's a good indication for the Yankees.
Much better inning so far for Kuroda. He's kept the ball down.
Jose Reyes got things going with a bloop single to start the ball game. He scored on Bautista's 3-run homer.
That makes him an even .500 now against Hiroki Kuroda.
12 for 24. Big numbers.
Included in that 3 doubles, a couple of triples, and a home run.
Off the plate inside. It's a ball and a strike.
I think Jose Reyes was doing the same thing that Jose Bautista was doing earlier, trying to do too much when Encarnacion, Lynn, and Laurie went out of the lineup. Swinging out at a lot of bad pitches, being a little bit too aggressive. But now, I was talking to him the other day. He says his shoulder feels really good. He got a cortisone shot in that. He says he's seeing the ball much better now. The game has slowed down for him. He's had some good at-bats.
Yeah, he really has of late, and he's done a nice job of making sure he gets a good pitch to hit. Once again, you can't get too big in this ballpark. You just got to think about short and quick to the ball. Ballpark will take care of it if you hit it well. On the ground, Brian Roberts, 3 ground balls this inning. Kuroda working down in the zone, has a good second inning. Blue Jays lead it 3-0 for Mark Burley. Set. Brian McCann, the first baseman, is in the box. He takes one down and away for ball 1. McCann in his first year with the Yankees after signing a free agent contract. I spoke to Joe Girardi about McCann's season. He said he just tries to do too much. He's trying to please everybody after signing that lucrative contract.
That happens a lot, doesn't it, in baseball? Sin Chu is another one who I think has fallen victim to that in Texas. He was talking about that when the Rangers were in town, about trying to justify the big numbers that he got in that contract.
There's a looper, and it's over Goins' head in front of Bautista. He thought about going to first, but Brian McCann is on with a leadoff single, and that'll bring the newest Yankee to the plate, the third baseman, Chase Headley. Tuesday, Headley showed up mid-game introduced himself and then really became a Yankee quickly. This is a game-winning hit in extra innings in his first game in Yankee pinstripes.
Good way to get onto the good side of your new teammates as he gets the Gatorade shower to finish that one. Last player with a walk-off RBI in the 14th or later in his debut with the team was Randy Kiesler. Did that back in 2005.
Numbers for the season for Headley, .232 average. He's a switch hitter. Of course, batting right-handed against Mark Buehrle. Gets tied up with that inside pitch. Headley is now 30 years old. He has faced Buehrle in the past. See what he's done since the trade. He's 3 for 10.
They needed some production from their third baseman. They were just not getting it. Yoel Solarte started at third base for him this year. They've already traded him away.
Solarte was traded for Chase Headley and a minor league pitching prospect. Headley hit his first major league home run right here at Yankee Stadium as a member of the Padres, and he continues to get hits for his new club. Back-to-back singles here in the second.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Back in New York, the Yankees threatening here in the bottom of the second. Back-to-back singles. Ichiro Suzuki takes one upstairs. Suzuki playing a lot in right field because Carlos Beltran can't play in the outfield. He has been DHing, so Suzuki is in the outfield, and it's tough when your corner outfielder has 11 RBIs and no home runs.
Right fielder, that's supposed to be a power position. No home runs, just 11 driven in, and he's not hitting very well with runners in scoring position. Under 200.
Last 9 games he's hitting under 100, and there's the wrist numbers, 173 average with runners in scoring position. Buehrle misses outside. It's 2 balls and a strike. Now it's 3-1. And just something about the Yankees that Mark Buehrle can't really put together a good game. We mentioned he has 1 win in 12 decisions. He's 1-11 against the Yankees for his career. There's a strike. It's a full count.
And knowing Mark Buehrle, who's a baseball guy, he knows that. Trying to get that one turned around.
Ichiro fouls it back. When you look at the averages of the hitters in the Yankee lineup, Ichiro's hitting .421 against Buehrle, 57 at bats. Brett Gardner, .458. Derek Jeter, .341. Brian McCann, .360. A lot of big numbers in that Yankee lineup against Buehrle. Ichiro fouls this one up the first base line. Buehrle's only win came right here at Yankee Stadium, as we mentioned, April 10th, 2004, when he was pitching against the Yankees for the White Sox. The oddity of that is the pitcher that took the loss was Jorge DePaula, his only major league decision. That'll load the bases. Buehrle walks Ichiro. We mentioned Buehrle's career numbers, and here they are. 18 career starts and his ERA closing in on 6.
No explanation about that except the Yankees are a good team. They've always been a very good team. A lot of veterans on their ball club, and they're not going to chase pitches out of the strike zone. You're going to have to set them up or try to set them up and then try and finish them off. Mark Buehrle just doesn't have the stuff that just blows it right by hitters, so he's going to have to be precise.
Brian Roberts, a switch hitter, batting with the bases loaded. Buehrle drops a changeup in there to get ahead. spent most of his career with the Orioles. He has 6 career grand slams. McCann singled, Headley singled, and Ichiro walked. Roberts swings and taps it toward third. Kawasaki throws on the run, and Roberts is safe. Throw pulled him off the bag. So the Yankees are on the board, and the bases are still loaded.
Even when they don't hit it hard, they find a spot right here. Kawasaki comes in playing third base. Tough play if you're not used to that. Francisco does a good job of going around that runner. But he's got to come off the bag, and just like that, a run in and still nobody out.
Roberts credited with an infield hit, picks up his 21st RBI of the season. Francisco Cervelli, the catcher, takes a first pitch strike. Cervelli missed 55 games this season with a hamstring injury. He's done a terrific job filling in. McCann's had to play first base lately because of Teixeira's injury.
He was asked if he was getting tired because he's caught the last 4 games. He said, my season just started. I'm fresh. Missed a lot of time with a hamstring injury. I think he went on the disabled list in the month of April.
55 games that he missed, and backup players don't get tired. You wait your whole life to play a week in a row, and you can see his numbers with the bases loaded. 400 with a career grand slam. Yeah, backup players, they sit around all the time, so when they get a chance to play, nobody's going to say I'm tired.
Even if they are, they're not going to admit it.
Cervelli chases that changeup. That's the first out of the inning. Big strikeout for Burley, his second of the evening.
That one out of the strike zone for Burley to pick up a big strikeout. Now a ground ball. They got a chance to get out of this inning with just a run scoring.
Brett Gardner has grounded into just 2 double plays. You're going to have to hit it right at an infielder to double up Gardner.
Yeah, I'm hoping a comebacker or a one-hopper to Goins at second base, because he can run.
Gardner flew out to right field his first time up. There's a drive to center. Anthony goes his back. He makes the running catch. Headley's tagging at third. He will move up. Ichiro tagged and advance to third base. And Brett Gardner with the sacrifice fly has made it a 3-2 ball game.
John Gibbons was telling us before the game, because Mark Burley's a fly ball pitcher and there's a lot of room here at Yankee Stadium in center field, he wanted some speed. And Anthony goes, and it paid off right there. That ball looked like it was heading to the gap. And Anthony's great speed ran that one down. That could have been a bases clearing extra base hit right there by Gardner, but it's only a sacrifice fly.
Yeah, big defensive play by Anthony Gose. 2 runs in this inning. Derek Jeter, fans are chanting his name. He had a single on the first pitch he saw back in the first.
Anthony can really play the outfield. And this ball scorched by Gardner. Looked like extra bases. He ran it down. Fires it in quickly to try and get the runner at third base. Yeah, when that left the bat, that looked like it was going to be 2 or 3 runs for the Yankees.
2-0. Anthony Gose has terrific acceleration. He takes extra bases away from Brett Gardner. Ichiro Suzuki at third. Brian Roberts at first. Jeter cuts this one into the seats down the right side. These are always tense games for the Blue Jays, no matter how many runs they score. Jeter has been clutch this year, 25 RBIs in these situations. This is his 81st at bat with a runner in scoring position. You have played here. You understand. The games are here seem to have more tension in them than just about any place else.
I don't know if it's because the fans are sitting right on top of you, or so it seems like they're sitting right on top of you. They're loud and they're boisterous. They get back into it. That's why I said in the first inning that home run by Bautista seemed to take the wind out of the sails of the fans. Well, the Yankees have gotten it right back with their offense here in the second inning.
They sure have. They have been able to capitalize on back-to-back hits to start the inning, and then Suzuki walked to load the bases. Gardner had a sac fly. Roberts drove in the first Yankee run with an infield single. Full count. Roberts at first will be off on the pitch. There he goes. Jeter, another fly down the right side. Bautista over, but it's into the seats.
You've played in games, well, not in this ballpark, but here in Yankee Stadium in playoff games, which are even worse than regular season games.
When you finish a game against the Yankees in New York, you're worn out. I mean, every pitch is crucial. Every inning is tough. And when you play in a playoff atmosphere, obviously, it's doubled. There goes Roberts, and the ball is pulled through the left side. Reyes on the run, throws on the hop, and gets Jeter. Jeter at 40 years old doesn't run like he did as a kid, and Reyes is able to throw him out. The Yankees score 2. Reyes goes in the hole, knows he's got a little time, throws a one-hopper to Francisco to retire Jeter. .ca cover every angle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Breaking news, photos, videos, and tweets. A one-stop shop for everything Blue Jays. Blue Jays Rundown, only on sportsnet.ca. Munenori Kawasaki takes the first pitch outside from Hiroki Kuroda. 3-2 Blue Jays lead it. It's a little cutter that missed inside. The rundown on sportsnet.ca will give you an update on everything that's going on with the Blue Jays. And today the headline is about Deck McGuire being traded to the Oakland Athletics. Deck McGuire, former first-round draft pick of the Blue Jays, never got to the big leagues for the Jays, and he has been dealt to the Oakland Athletics for cash. He was removed from the 40-man roster and exposed to the waiver wire. He was designated, and the A's showed interest, and they worked out a deal.
Got some cash, and there were high hopes for Deck McGuire. In fact, he was drafted ahead of Aaron Sanchez in 2010.
McGuire this year split time between AA New Hampshire and AAA Buffalo. His strike is now 3-2. For the season, McGuire was 6-9 with a .421 earned run average. He spent parts of the last 4 seasons in AA. Kawasaki has a base hit to right on a 3-2 pitch. So Melky Cabrera will step in, and yesterday at Rogers Center in the afternoon game, Cabrera had a very awkward slide at third base, and then after the inning, Reyes was giving him all sorts of grief about that ugly slide. And finally, Melky said, "That's enough. Get back to shortstop. I've heard enough from you." And then, wouldn't you know it, Reyes gets doubled off with just 1 out, and Cabrera comes in and says, "Hey, how many outs were there?"
Turnabout is fair play, isn't it, amongst teammates?
Yeah, if you're going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it. Melky bounces it to Roberts. Jeter back to first. Double play. Taylor made double play ball. 2-hopper to the second baseman, Brian Roberts. He flips to Jeter in an easy double play.
Jays are going to have to really make Kuroda get the ball up when he's got that splitter dancing like that, and he's down in the strike zone. He's going to get a lot of ground ball outs.
Kuroda gave up a 3-run home run to Bautista in the first inning. But the Yankees are on a streak. 10 straight games in which pitchers have allowed 4 runs or fewer. So you might not get any more off of Kuroda.
Yeah, you don't want to let him get comfortable. Over their last 12 games, they've allowed more than 2 earned runs just twice.
The starters have been terrific, which is really a surprise given the fact that they lost 4 of their starters out of their 5-man rotation. Kuroda is the only left over. Bautista homered on a 3-0 pitch in the first inning. He got the green light, didn't try to hit it too hard, and knocked it right out of the ballpark. All of his hits against Kuroda have been home runs. There's another shot to left. There's a deep ball. Gardner at the wall. He's done it again. 4 for 4 against Kuroda. All homers. All of his hits off of Kuroda have been home runs. He gets one of those runs back.
Tell you what, you can't do it any better than that. He is a perfect 4 for 4. 4 round trippers against Hiroki Kuroda. That time, it looked like a slider that he hung over the plate. First time up, it was a fastball that he nailed. That time, it looked like a slider.
Boy, that was a much needed boost after hitting into that double play, and the fact the Yankees scored 2 runs in the bottom of the second. Bautista gets another back. He's driven in all 4 so far tonight. Yonder Navarro grounded out to the second baseman, his first time up.
Short and quick, right to the baseball. Kuroda said, "Okay, I've tried the fastball, I've tried the slider, got to try something else." They might have to think about walking him.
Another bouncing ball to the second baseman. Brian Roberts throws the first. The inning is over. Blue Jays score another run. Jose Bautista's putting on a home run show tonight at Yankee Stadium. 2 at-bats, 2 home runs. Number 19 and 20 for Bautista. presented by Honda. Sunday, August 10th, Blue Jays take on the Tigers. Game time is 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive a replica Blue Jays BP cap. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Or log online at BlueJays.com to get your tickets for the replica Blue Jays BP cap giveaway. Sunday, August 10th. Center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury leads things off against Mark Burton. Pulls it on the ground. Ryan Goins right at the edge of the outfield grass makes the play. One up, one down here in the third. Jose Bautista, his 23rd multi-home run game of his career, his second this season. Third time he's had a multi-home run game against the Yankees, and it's his first multi-home run game here at Yankee Stadium.
What were people saying? He hasn't hit a home run in 3 weeks. What's the problem with Jose?
Well, he hadn't.
I know. But that's how home run hitters are sometimes. Sometimes they'll go in slumps, and next thing you know, in a week they might hit 5 or 6.
Carlos Beltran, the switch hitter, batting right-handed, grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. I think what it does, it reminds us just how good Jose Bautista is and how difficult it is to hit home runs. There's a deep drive to left. Beltran has connected against Burley. Goodbye home run for Beltran. His 11th. Looks like it might be one of those nights at Yankee Stadium.
Mark Burley has done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark this year. He hadn't given up a home run since he gave up one to the Oakland A's. That was back on July the 5th. A couple of starts ago. Now he gives one up to Beltran. He's got great power for a switch hitter.
That's Beltran's 4th career home run against Mark Burley. Trying to turn that changeup over, and it stayed on the inner half, and he's able to connect. By McCann, one around. Beltran signed as a free agent in the offseason. He's had a disappointing season, batting just .222 at the start of this game with only 32 RBIs. There's a broken Matt Looper. That's going to get past Reyes and go into center. Brian McCann is 2 for 2. It wasn't pretty, but it's effective.
He's got his old teammate in town, John Smoltz, doing the game from MLB Network, so he's showing off for him. Singled his first time up, and this time just out of the reach of Jose Reyes.
Now Chase Headley, the new Yankee third baseman. He had a single through the left side of the infield, where he misses with the first pitch. Blue Jays were reportedly involved in the trade discussions with the Padres regarding Chase Headley. There's a sinking liner. That's going to get down for Headley. He, like McCann, 2 for 2. Last couple of years, Headley's had some injury issues. 2013, he had a broken thumb. This year, he's had some back problems, but he looks healthy now.
Yeah, now muscles that ball, hits it off of his hands and into left field for a base hit. He singled his last time up and scored. He, along with McCann, scored last inning. Already now the Yankees have 7 hits.
Ichiro Suzuki walked his first time up. It's got to be frustrating for Mark Burley. You have so much success against everybody but the Yankees, and you come out here and he's been throwing the ball great, just hasn't had a win. And now, staked to an early lead, the Yankees are squaring him up.
He has pitched well enough to win in his 8 starts since his last win. He's had a couple of games where there were some blown saves. One of them was against the Yankees on June the 24th. We had a win and the bullpen blew it. 2 other games he's pitched well, but the Blue Jays were shut out. In another game he pitched well, and the Blue Jays only scored 1 run.
Ichiro hits one high and deep to right. His first home run of the season. A 3-run homer. 2 home runs in the inning, and the Yankees have stormed back from a 3-0 first inning deficit.
You and I were talking to some of the Yankee people before the game. They're saying, hey, they just can't hit. They've had all kind of problems scoring runs. Well, tonight they aren't having any problems. They've scored 6 already here in the 3rd inning. Home run by Beltran, and now this 3-run homer. And Ichiro Suzuki with his first home run of the season. He now has 14 RBIs.
Suzuki with a walk and a 3-run home run. Beltran with a solo home run this inning. Now Ichiro a 3-run homer. Brian Roberts drove in the first Yankee run with an infield single in the 2nd. Melky Cabrera has this one measured in left. Roberts is retired, 2 down.
Here's what we were just talking about. First 12 starts of the season, 10-1, outstanding earned run average of 2.1 and an outstanding whip. Last 8, yeah, he's 0-5 and his ERA has crept up to 4.02, but there are a couple of games there that he could have won. The opponent's batting average is up just a little bit more. Early in the year, he was hitting the spots, keeping it out of the middle of the plate. Tonight, he's found a lot of bats of the Yankees.
Todd Redmond starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Jays are down 6-4. Catcher Francisco Cervelli.
Burley has had the lead 5 times in those 8 starts since that great start. Part of the problem has been the bullpen. The other part is coughed it up. Last start he had a 5-2 lead and gave up 3 runs late in that one and picked up a no decision.
Ball and a strike to the Yankee catcher. John Gibbons trying to figure out how to break the streak here in New York. They've lost 16 straight. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and the Yankees are ahead here in the 3rd. Boy, this is a test for the players. You come in here knowing that you got to beat the Yankees. You are tied for 2nd with New York, and this is a team you've got to beat. Cervelli rips it into center. That's the 9th hit off of Burley, with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning.
Just going to have to make some better pitches. That one is up. Pete Walker's going to come out and talk to his starter. Burley has to get the ball down. He's got to get the ball on the corners right now.
The first game of a series is always significant. You want your starter to pitch deep into that game to preserve as many innings out of your bullpen as possible. And Pete Walker out-talked to Burley. Burley knows the situation. He needs to get out of this inning and pitch a little deeper into this game before they have to go to the bullpen. Ichiro Suzuki with his first home run of the season. A 3-run homer. RBIs 12, 13, and 14 on the season for Suzuki. Burley misses with the first pitch to Brett Gardner. Gardner drove in the 2nd run for New York in the 2nd with a sac fly. This is popped up. This should end the inning. Second baseman Ryan Goins moves underneath and makes the catch. The inning is over. But the Yankees score 4 runs on 5 hits and a couple of home runs. A 1-out home run by Carlos Beltran, and then Ichiro Suzuki hits his first of the season into the seats in right. official app of Major League Baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. You can bet there are a lot of those apps here at this ballpark tonight. Juan Francisco batting now with the Blue Jays trailing by 2. We had mentioned the Yankees are in a stretch of their pitching, allowing 4 or fewer runs in 10 straight games, and they've gone 7-3 in those 10 games.
That's hard to imagine with all the injuries and the problems that they have had with their starting rotation. No CC Sabathia, no Tanaka, who is probably the best pitcher in the first half this season.
Ivan Nova, Michael Pineda, CC Sabathia, and Masahiro Tanaka, 4 starters out of the rotation. 0-2. Bounced in the dirt. Everybody has issues, and obviously Blue Jays have their injury problems as well, but you can't really think about it. And, you know, trying to figure out when Encarnacion's coming back, when Lori's coming back, when Lynn's you don't worry about that. You've got a 25-man roster. You've got to get the best out of those 25 men you have.
Reporters keep asking John Gibbons about that every day, and he's like, I don't know. And as a manager, you worry about the 25 guys that you have ready for you that day.
Absolutely. You can't be preoccupied by worrying about what somebody's doing down in Florida. The games come at you fast and furious, and you got to stay focused on your 25-man roster. And John's done a good job of massaging the lineup, mixing and matching, getting guys in, and he's held his own against the odds with 3 regular bats out of the lineup. Francisco chases that splitter, 1 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you, Jamie. Shane Victorino, of course, got the only hit off of the young pitcher yesterday, Marcus Stroman. That's quite a matchup down in St. Petersburg. John Lester against David Price. Lester has given up 3 hits in 3 2/3. Price has given up 2 hits in 4 innings, and Price has 6 strikeouts already.
Both of those pitchers pitching great baseball right now. I kind of teased John Farrell yesterday. I said, well, so where are you guys going tomorrow? Knowing full well where it's going. He told me, he said, oh, who's pitching tomorrow? He's like, as if you didn't know. Price and Lester.
Yeah, it's a great matchup.
David Ortiz in the lineup tonight?
He is. He's in the lineup. He's 0 for 2 so far. Ortiz left the game yesterday at Rogers Center. He tweaked something in his back. And last time those 2 teams met, Price hit David Ortiz, and after the game, Ortiz said, it's over. I'm not friends with him anymore, and the war is on. Brian Roberts spears a hot shot off the bat of Colby Erasmus. He was out in right field playing that shift, and he takes a hit away from Rasmus.
That's the advantage of having the shift and all the scouting reports against Colby Rasmus. You play the second baseman out there. That's a base hit just a couple of seasons ago right there. But because Roberts, the second baseman, is deep, the ball is tomahawked. He gets on top of it, creates a lot of top spin, spins right into his glove for an out.
So do you think the shifts have had a lot to do with the offenses being down?
Certainly. There are you and I sit here night after night and we watch where these balls are hit. And how many balls have we said right back through the middle that would have been a hit 3 or 4 years ago? Or a ball like that. Clearly a base hit into right field is now an out. I think the advent of the shifts, and I think the specialization of the bullpens, where every team is loaded up with guys throwing 95 plus coming out of that bullpen, specializing in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, has made it more difficult to hit today.
1-1 to Ryan Goins. Goins grounded out to second his first time up. I agree with you. I think that has a lot to do with it. The American League batting average is .255. and numbers are down offensively across the board. The Yankees have hit 85 home runs. They're the Bronx pea shooters right now. They are not the Bronx Bombers. And Joe Girardi said, we haven't scored any runs. He said, you got Edwin Encarnacion out of the lineup for 3 weeks, and nobody's close to his run production
on
our team.
Right. It's like the Boston Red Sox, who just finished up playing. They came into that series against the Blue Jays, which are 72 home runs on the season. That's not like a Red Sox team.
Now, when you look at the Yankees lineup, their stat sheet, Mark Teixeira, who's not in the lineup tonight, leads the team with 48 RBIs coming into this game. The Blue Jays, Milwaukee has 52, Bautista now with 60. Encarnacion has 70, and Goins has a base hit. A lot of baseball to be played. The Blue Jays are playing in their 105th game. The Yankees 103rd game, and the standings are all jammed up. The Orioles are out on the West Coast, and they've done a nice job. They're 4-3 on the West Coast swing so far. They're still in Seattle. They have a 3-game lead over the Yankees and the Blue Jays. The Rays are looking at 500 for the first time in about 3 months. They're closing up.
Yeah, don't forget about the Tampa Bay Rays right now. We said that a couple of weeks ago, that with that starting staff, if they stay healthy, they can go on one of those tears for a month, month and a half.
Anthony Gose grounded out to second base, his first time up. Ball gets away from Cervelli, and Goins moves up. Cervelli catching in just his 16th game of the season. He had hamstring problems. He's charged with the pass ball. That'll be his first pass ball of the season, and you can see it just kicks off the edge of his glove.
Thought that ball was going to dive just a little bit more than what it did. Done a good job back there defensively.
(2-0) to Anthony Gose. Now 3-0. Reyes is on deck. Gose has got to take a couple of pitches.
And he's still going to get a fastball. I think you got to get some runners on base. Put that speed on the bases for the top of the lineup right here.
Ball 4. So Gose works Kuroda for the walk. That's the first walk Kuroda has issued tonight. And that'll turn the lineup over and bring Reyes to the plate. We had mentioned at the start of the show how the top 4 in the Blue Jays order had done such a terrific job in those last 3 wins at Rogers Center. Reyes, Cabrera, Bautista, and Navarro had really put up some big numbers, and they're doing it again tonight. Reyes is 1 for 2. Melky Cabrera is 1 for 2, and Bautista's homered twice.
And John Gibbons said, hey, with our big guys, some of our big guys out of the lineup, the veterans have got to step up, and they have to start producing for us. Well, they must have been listening. Jose Reyes looks a lot better at the plate. Melky's been hitting all year long, and Bautista seems to be coming out of it. Let's throw in Tiana Navarro in that also. He looked really good back at Rogers Center in that last homestand against the Rangers and the Red Sox.
He had 2 hits yesterday, and then when you look at Navarro on Tuesday night, he had a double and a 2-run home run. He's been swinging the bat well. 2 on, 2 outs for Jose Reyes. Drives the first pitch to left, but Brett Gardner is there, and the inning is over. Kuroda, after the visit to the mound by the pitching coach, needs 1 pitch to close out the Blue Jays in the 4th. against the New York Yankees. He lasts just 3 innings, gives up 9 hits, charged with 6 earned runs, walked 1. Struck out 2, gave up 2 home runs. Home run to Beltran and a 3-run home run to Suzuki. And he'll turn things over to the bullpen. First on is Todd Redmond.
He has pitched really well for the Blue Jays this season with a 236 earned run average, 41 strikeouts, just 15 base on balls. He's thrown a lot lately. He has been used now 4 times over the last 6 days by the Blue Jays. He's not the long man out of the bullpen anymore. Usually you'll see Todd come in here when the starter cannot go very long in a game. But John Gibbons elects to bring him back in. Pitched in yesterday's game in it.
He is as strong as an ox, and he's throwing the ball well right now, so John Gibbons wants him in here to keep the Yankees at bay. Jeter shoots it into the seats. Mark Burley goes just 3 innings. That's his shortest start since joining the Blue Jays. His previous short start was 3 1/3, and tonight the Yankees had his number. Jeter strikes out. Redmond retires the first batter he faces since entering the ball game.
He's done a good job. He really has. This time he drops down and throws that slider. He'll drop down and throw a fastball from that spot, or he'll drop down and turn the ball over like a sinker. That time he gets Jeter for the first out.
Jacoby Ellsbury's 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded out. He fouls back that fastball. So the Yankee hitters have to switch gears. They have knocked the starter out of the game. Burley left-hander, Redmond a right-hander. So now they've got to refocus, and I'm sure Kevin Long, the hitting coach, has gone back to his book and got out the scouting report for Todd Redmond.
Fastball that's very tough, especially for left-handers to pick up. He slings it towards home plate. It's about 91 or 92, but it just seems a little bit quicker. Batters have trouble picking it up.
Ground ball right to the second baseman. Goins throws out Ellsbury, 2 down. Todd Redmond is a fastball pitcher, and he refined his fastball way back in high school. If you look at the grip, that's a traditional 4-seam fastball.
Conventional 4-seam fastball right there, where it's the same grip like it says right there since high school. The thumb position imparts life, where he sticks it way underneath the ball like that, and that helps him sling the ball towards home plate. He's also got a little bit of a slider, and he'll throw that split grip changeup. It's not a full-fledged splitter, but he'll set the ball in his glove like a splitter, and he'll use that as a changeup.
Carlos Beltran batting left-handed for the first time tonight. Beltran homered against Burley in the 3rd. For Beltran, home run number 11. Pulls that one past Mick Kelleher at first base.
Don't hurt the birthday boy.
Mick Kelleher, the first base coach, is 67 years old today. Happy birthday, Mick. He's been a long-time player, coach. Done a great job with the Yankees. Redmond strikes out Beltran. A couple of strikeouts in the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Yankees in the 4th. We go to the 5th. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Game time is 1:07 p.m. Special kids prize tickets in the 200 and 500 level outfield seats. After the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Log online at BlueJays.com and order your tickets for Junior Jays Saturday. Munenori Kawasaki is 1 for 2. Kawasaki had a single to right back in the third inning. Bounces this one right back to the mound. Kuroda goes to first, one down. So Melky Cabrera will step in. Melky has a hit already. He's 1 for 2. Kuroda gave up a 3-run home run to Bautista in the first, a solo shot in the third, but he has a 6-4 lead.
That's what happens a lot of times with good pitchers. They just don't have that release point down, or they just don't feel right in that first inning. It's good to jump on him like the Blue Jays did before he starts to get comfortable.
Reyes singled, Cabrera singled, and then Bautista hit the 3-run home run in the first. Melky shows bunt, takes a strike. Bautista 2 for 2 tonight. Couple of home runs, number 19 and 20. Cabrera thought about it, but checked his swing. Melky came up with the Yankees for the first time in 2005. Played in 6 games at the end of that season. Came up for good in 2006, hit .280 in 130 games for the Yankees, and he became a fixture. Had a career high 56 walks that rookie season. This is popped in the air to left field. High fly ball for Gardner. 2 down. Now it's time for the drive of the game. It's brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car, 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jose Bautista is already 5th on the club's all-time home run list, and he's going to add to it tonight. First inning, 3-0. He gets the green light, 3-run home run for Bautista, and then a slider. Down and away in his next time up, 3rd inning, he crushes another in a multi-home run game for Bautista. That now gives Bautista 188 home runs as a Blue Jay.
His first multi-home run game here at Yankee Stadium. For Bautista, he has 4 hits against Hiroki Kuroda. They have all been home runs. It's interesting when you look at Bautista's favorite home run targets. David Price, he's hit 5. John Lester, he's hit 5. James Shields, he's hit 5 against. Now Kuroda and Kevin Slowey have both given up 4 to Bautista. Top pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, what do they all have in common, except maybe Kevin Slowey?
Fastball.
They're all number 1s.
Yeah.
David Price is a number 1. Lester is a number 1 for his team.
Shields
is a number 1. Kuroda right now is their number 1 pitcher.
Yeah, he is at his best against the best.
And that, I think, is what separates good hitters and great hitters. Good hitters can hit mediocre pitching. Great hitters hit good pitching.
Bautista fights it off. That's a great point, and that's what you want from your big gun. Bautista over his last 4 games has been swinging the bat well. A double, 3 home runs and 6 ribbies. On the ground, Roberts drops the ball. Bautista hustling up the line, but Roberts recovers in time. 3 up, 3 down for Hiroki Kuroda, who has settled in nicely in the middle innings. fifth, and when you look at power from behind the plate, McCann is the leader of the pack. He has 176 home runs as a catcher.
That is since 2006. You know what's interesting about that, Buck? Look where he played in Atlanta. That is not a hitter's ballpark. And that's why it was so enticing to get Brian McCann in this ballpark. He's a pole hitter and a short porch in right field. Ideal for Brian McCann.
Brian McCann has had 7 seasons of 20 or more home runs.
In Atlanta. That's
big ballpark.
Big ballpark.
I asked Joe Girardi about McCann. I said, has he put pressure on himself because he's a first-year free agent player? He said, absolutely. He said, Brian McCann, and these are Girardi's words, he said he's a people pleaser. He wants to make everybody better. I said, did you feel pressure when you came to the Yankees as a player? He said, I sure did. And he was 31 years old, much like McCann. He said, for about the first 6 weeks of the season when I came here from Colorado, he said, I tried to do more. And it took the late Don Zimmer to pull him aside and said, would you just be Joe Girardi? This ball is hit to left field, but Melky Cabrera is back. He's got plenty of room, and McCann is retired.
Joe Girardi didn't have the added pressure of a big contract, too, did he?
No, he sure didn't. But you know what? The Yankee pinstripes, there are high expectations. And when Girardi came here with the Yankees, he was brought in to help them win. And he took a lot of heat when he first got here because everybody really didn't know much about him. Zimmer knew him from Chicago. And Zimmer said, why did you get Girardi? He said, because he's a winner. And it certainly played out.
Yeah, he was right.
Chase Headley will turn around and bat left-handed for a first time. Headley's 2 for 2 tonight. A pair of singles. He scored 2 runs. We mentioned the Blue Jays were reportedly in on the talks in a trade discussion with the San Diego Padres. And there are varying accounts of how serious they were. And some people suggest they had a done deal. And other people say the Blue Jays shied away from him because of some back problems he had earlier this season. But the Yankees, they were able to roll the dice. They didn't give up much for him. The Padres were anxious to get out from under his money. He was about $4 million due the rest of the season. And I think San Diego paid $1 million. Or they paid 1. The Yankees are paying 3.
That's exactly right. And the players that went there, Solarte, we saw him early in the year. He's a middle infielder. Ball's fouled off, and the pitcher, talking to a scout the other day, said at best he's a middle reliever for him. So it sounded like more like the San Diego Padres wanted to get out from under his contract, which had about $4 million left to pay. His swing might fit in right here.
Fights that one off with 2 strikes. He is trying to wait back as long as possible.
He had a huge year a couple of years ago for the San Diego Padres.
There's a fly ball. This is trouble. Long run for Cabrera. He dives and can't make the play. He trapped the ball on the short hop. How about Chase Headley? I think he likes his pinstripes. 3 for 3.
But it's such a good hitter's ballpark. Where he is coming from, San Diego, the ball doesn't carry. After 8 o'clock at night, that heavy marine air knocks balls down, so it's tough to get the ball out of the ballpark. It's big. It's a pitcher's ballpark. Here, this is a hitter's ballpark, and he's showing why he's a good hitter. Trapped by Melky. What a play. That ball gets by him, and that's 3 for sure. But he short hops it, slides on his belly into foul ground, and then gets up and holds him to a double.
Chase Headley 3 for 3 tonight. Ichiro Suzuki's had a perfect start to his night. He has walked and homered. And he cuts that one into the seats. You know, you said something that made me think. And you're right about Southern California. The marine layer happens at Dodger Stadium and happens in Anaheim, happens in San Diego. How come there's no marine layer in New York? We're only a couple of miles away from the Atlantic.
I don't know. Do I look like a marine? Marine biologist? No. I have no idea.
I just thought about it. We're right by the ocean, too.
Does it not come in off the ocean here, the layer?
Well, I think the Pacific's much colder than the Atlantic, and that heats up Southern California. Of course, warm afternoons, and that cold water makes a marine layer. We saw it when we flew into Anaheim right before the All-Star break.
Oh, boy. Tough to hit at nighttime there. Ball just doesn't carry.
I had trouble in the daytime as well. Ichiro Suzuki, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yankees have a 6-4 lead. We're in the bottom of the 5th, first of 3 in the Bronx. Now it's 2-2. Todd Redmond in his second inning of relief retired the side in order in the 4th. He's given up a bloop double to Chase Headley. Suzuki strikes out, and they've got the runner hung up. And Navarro will throw to Reyes, and Chase Headley forgot how many outs there were. Headley, after the strikeout, assumed it was 3 outs, and he was just jogging toward third base. Redmond gets a strikeout, turns into a very unusual double play. Look at Headley. He thinks that's the 3rd out of the inning, and Navarro does a nice job of getting him to commit back to second. One to nothing connects on a fastball off John Lester, and it was a no-doubter into the seats in left center. So they're going back at 4th down in Tampa Bay. A 2-run home run. The Rays lead it 2-1.
Looks like a pretty good crowd down at Tampa.
Here we move to the 6th. Rookie Kuroda got rocked for 3 runs in the 1st inning. Blue Jays added a run in the 3rd. Jose Bautista has driven in all 4 Jays runs with a pair of home runs, but Kuroda has settled down. Yonder Navarro goes after the first pitch and rips it into right. Suzuki will play it off the wall, and Navarro will settle for a leadoff single.
Boy, he's swinging a hot bat right now. It's short, and anything on the inner half, he's creaming. That ball, he goes out and hooks a splitter into right field. Looked like it was extra bases, but again, it's not very deep in right field. Suzuki plays it perfectly, holds him to a single.
So Navarro's aboard. Juan Francisco has singled and struck out. Francisco's got the layoff of that knee-high splitter. That's the one that disappears.
Two bad things can happen if you don't lay off of that splitter that's low. Strikeout or a ground ball. And they can't have a ground ball right here unless it's finding a hole.
David Huff, the lefty, loosening up. Yankees have 3 left-handers in their pen. Yankees have added another left-hander, but for the afternoon, nobody was really sure what Chris Capuano was going to do, work out of the pen or start, and Joe Girardi removed all doubts. He's starting tomorrow in the middle game of a 3-game series.
And pushing Green back to Sunday.
I asked Joe if it had anything to do with the Blue Jays lineup, and he said yes. He said once you get past Navarro, you got a lot of left-handers in your lineup, and that had a lot to do with Capuano getting the start. There's a fly ball to left field. Gardner back. He makes the catch. Francisco's retired. Hiroki Kuroda is 39 years old, and he is not slowing down one bit.
Getting stronger and stronger. April not very good. May a little bit better, and then in June he has really turned it on. 352 earned run average down to 263 in the month of July. And what he has really done is when he gets ahead of the batters, he is just putting them away this season. Opponents are just 9 for 82 with 2 strike counts. He's got the weapons to do that. And lefties just haven't hit anything against him this year. 195 since June the 1st.
Kobe Rasmus hit a line drive that was headed for right his last time up, and Brian Roberts snared it out in shallow right field. He was playing in that exaggerated shift. Not the case this time. They have to stay in line for the double play. Bounce well in front of the plate.
Would be an interesting turn if there was a ground ball to Brian Roberts, because Derek Jeter is at third base. Chase Headley, that's him standing right on the bag at second base.
Interesting how they changed that, where Jeter is playing at third base basically. Headley has moved behind second, and he's the third baseman.
I think they saw those scouting reports when Colby Rasmus was bunting on Colby Lewis, and they said we'd rather have Jeter come in on the bunts.
Lewis got upset that Rasmus was bunting, but it was a 2-0 game at the time. He was hitting with 2 outs and got on base.
I didn't buy his reaction either. He's working on his batting average. Well, no joke. Everybody's working on their batting average, just like a pitcher's working on his ERA.
It was a 2-0 game.
Yeah.
I think it was the 5th inning. Rasmus is late on that pitch and fouls it back. Colby is 0 for 2. Strikeout and a lineout.
Why not take a shot right here? 2-1. Just hitting a shot to left field. And they're bunching you up on the right side. You got to get the ball by one guy on the left side. That's Derek Jeter. Take a shot.
Line to right to Chase Headley. Boy, the shift has gotten Rasmus twice tonight. He's hit the ball right on the button a couple of times. Roberts got him in right field. Headley gets him right up the middle. There's another great example of how the exaggerated shifts have penalized hitters.
And why it's so hard to hit right now. That is a base hit. But because they have 3 fielders on the right side, it's right at them. Tell you what, don't let that get into your head, which it could very easily.
Yep, you can't really do anything about that. He's had 2 good at-bats tonight and has nothing to show for it. How about Joe Girardi? He's going to take the ball from Kuroda. Ryan Goins, a left-handed bat, is the hitter. He singled his last time up against Kuroda. Hiroki Kuroda out, David Huff in. David Huff pitched against the Blue Jays back on the 23rd of June at Rogers Center. He had a terrific outing. He worked in relief of Chase Whitley, who was knocked out early. Huff threw 3 2/3, allowed just 1 hit and no runs as he faced 13 batters.
A couple of walks and 3 strikeouts. Blue Jays hitting .091 against him. He's 2-0 in 14 games since joining the Yankees on June the 11th. The left-hander doesn't throw that hard, but he throws a lot of strikes. Blue Jays have faced him in the past when he was a member of the Cleveland Indians.
Brian Goins will step in against Huff. Goins 1 for 2. He's actually hit a home run off of David Huff. He's 1 for 3 in his head-to-head meetings. 2 outs, a man at first. Goins hits it off the end of the bat. Brian Roberts will shovel it to Jeter. The inning is over. Huff needs just 1 pitch to close out the 6th. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees lead at 6-4. Biggest at-bats in every game-changing play. Blue Jays in 60 seconds after every game, only on Sportsnet.ca. You can always see a lot of Melky Cabrera and Jose Bautista if you log on to Sportsnet.ca. Blue Jays in 60 seconds will give you all of the game highlights and the best defensive plays. We move to the bottom of the 6th, and the Blue Jays trail by 2. Todd Redmond in relief of Mark Burley. Burley suffered his shortest outing as a Blue Jay, going just 3 innings. He's charged with 6 earned runs on 9 hits. His ERA up over 3 now at 3.19.
First time all year it's gone up over 3. Redmond's come in and settled down the Blue Jays and have given them a chance to come back in this game.
Redmond has faced the minimum in this game, and Brian Roberts goes after the first pitch and skies it right behind home plate. Leon Navarro makes the catch in foul ground.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful shot of downtown New York. It's a cool, comfortable evening. Start of game. Temperature was 27. It's cooled off. Very nice now. Blue Jays trying to snap a 16-game losing streak at the hands of the Yankees here in the Bronx. You talk about losing streaks, and John Gibbons was asking his media scrum if it's the longest one he's ever been involved with. He said, I can't remember anything longer. There haven't been many longer losing streaks than this one currently. 16 straight at Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays beat the Orioles 16 straight at Rogers Center, 2009 through 2011. The Yankees won 19 straight home games over the Cleveland Indians. It started in 1960, went through 1962. I was involved with the Kansas City Royals when we lost 23 straight games to the Orioles. Both home and road. 23 straight.
Not just in Baltimore, huh?
No, 23 straight. But it's really interesting.
There was a reason for that.
We were an expansion team.
69,
70. And that was in the heyday of the Orioles.
They could throw some pitching at you.
70, 71. They were best in baseball for a long period of time. 1-2, 1 out to Cervelli. He hits it foul just outside of third. Kawasaki dove for it, but it was beyond his reach. And fortunately for the Blue Jays, it was foul. Brett Cecil starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Don Gibbons has had to change his thinking about who gets the more meaningful innings of work of late. Todd Redmond has earned that right. He has pitched well, so he is going to pitch in more meaningful situations. There's another ground ball. This one is fair past Kawasaki down the left field line. Cervelli is headed for second. He'll get there with a stand-up double. His 8th double of the season.
I guess they didn't learn anything about that previous pitch that was rifled down the left field line, but it was foul. This time slider once again, and this time Cervelli keeps it fair. 1, 2, 3 steps by Kawasaki, and he just can't come up with that ball. It goes all the way down in the corner for extra bases.
Cervelli with 2 hits tonight has hit .347 since he's come off the disabled list June 16th, back with the ball club. He's done a nice job, and he doesn't look tired one bit.
He better not. Says the season just got started.
Back to the top of the order. Brett Gardner has gone 0 for 3 so far. Shows bunt and takes it downstairs. Yankees have 6 runs on 11 hits. The Blue Jays 4 runs on 8 hits. Each club with 2 home runs tonight. Ball and a strike to the Yankees left fielder.
Redmond's very efficient also in working his 3rd inning here. Only thrown 34 pitches. That's exactly what you want to get when your starter gets knocked out early like that. That first man up out of the bullpen, throw up some zeros and do it quick.
2-1. Brett Gardner, then Derek Jeter, a right-handed bat. Cecil might be getting ready for Jacoby Ellsbury. That's fouled off Deanna Navarro's mask. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He had him set up for that fastball up. That's the pitch where a lot of the players have problems picking up the fastball because it's right on top of them. There's that 4-seamer we were talking about. It's rising. And Gardner can't get on top of it.
Knocked the mask right off the head of Navarro. 2-2, 1 out. Now it's a full count. Derek Jeter waits on deck. Jeter has singled in 3 at-bats. Gardner strikes out. For Redmond, that's his 4th strikeout since coming into the ball game. 2 outs now.
There's that fastball right by him. 91 miles an hour, and you can see Gardner's a little tardy.
So Derek Jeter will bat for the man at second. Jeter, we mentioned he had a single in the first. The Yankees will be at Rogers Center August 29th, 30th, and 31st. Jeter gets jammed. Redmond will have to go to the bag, and Francisco steps on the bag. The inning is over. So Todd Redmond with 3 good innings of relief. That might be his last batter. For the Blue Jays, they got to get something going. It'll be Anthony Ghost, the number 9 hitter. Reyes is 1 for 3 tonight. And Munenori Kawasaki, he too has a hit so far. You can get yours at Rogers today for just $24.99 when you upgrade or switch to select new Android phones on a 2-year share everything plan. So check it out and pick up your Sony Smart Band at Rogers today. Lots of Blue Jay fans in attendance here at Yankee Stadium. It's a Friday night. Big crowd on hand, and a lot of Blue Jay players have family and friends here in the area. They come to New York, obviously. It's a great attraction to come to Yankee Stadium, and they have their natural rivals in New York, the Yankees, so it's a good weekend series for a lot of family and friends to come along and enjoy the players and watch the Blue Jays over the weekend. Jays got off to a great start. 3 in the first. Jose Bautista with his 19th home run. Bautista homered again in the third for home run number 20. But the Jays trail by 2. David Huff came into the ballgame to get Ryan Goins to end the 6th inning. Anthony Ghost will try to get aboard and start the 7th. Ghost shows bunt, takes a strike.
This is a good time for it right here, too. You got a left-hander on the mound. You got a player at first base in Brian McCann who's a catcher. Bring it with you.
This is slapped to left field. Gardner was shaded in that direction. 1 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you, Jamie. Shane Victorino was 2 for 3 with a pair of RBIs for Boston. Back in 4th now. Price and Lester still in the game. Reyes with a big cut fouls it back to the screen. That is quite a pitching matchup, and both of those pitchers are really throwing well right now. David Price for Tampa Bay, John Lester for the Red Sox. The challenge for their respective GMs: do you hold on to those guys, or do you trade them before the July 31st trade deadline? There you see Steve Tollefson out on deck, who bat for Kawasaki.
That run that you were just talking about, the historic run for Lester and Price, the strikeouts and the innings, I mean, it's incredible.
They have both been dominant for the last several starts. This is looped into right. Ichiro comes in quickly. 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Well, Steve Tollefson was announced into the game. And once Joe Girardi heard that it was official, he has gone to the mound. He's going to make a pitching change for sure. David Huff is out. New pitcher into the ball game when we come. Right-hander Sean Kelly's into the game. He'll make his 33rd appearance for the Yankees. David Huff goes an inning and did a good job. Now it's over to Kelly.
Part of a very good bullpen for the New York Yankees with a lot of strikeouts. He's had 40 strikeouts in 31 innings in his 32 appearances for the New York Yankees. A losing record 1-2, but a very good earned run average at .348. Left-handers, he's handled them a lot better because he's got a good breaking ball, and that's what John Gibbons does. He's going to send up another pinch hitter.
Yeah, Gibbons will use 2 of his 3 players that he has available on the bench in this move. Tollefson was pinch hitting for Kawasaki. Now Dan Johnson will pinch hit for Tollefson. So Tollefson never gets to home plate. Kelly against Johnson. First pitch strike. Blue Jays and the Yankees, for that matter, they both have 3 extra players. They're carrying 13 pitchers. Both have an 8-man bullpen. It's that nasty breaking ball. It's in the dirt. Johnson has never faced Kelly. He's done a nice job since he's joined the Blue Jays. He has a couple of doubles and 3 RBIs. Lays off that pitch, and down at third base, Marty Foster said he went around. 1-2, 2 outs. We're in the 7th.
That's that nasty breaking ball I told you. Gets a lot of strikeouts. with that.
Just missed the outside edge. 2-2. Hiroki Kuroda was the starter. Gives up 4 runs on 8 hits in 5 2/3. David Huff worked in the inning, and now Sean Kelly into the game. Johnson gets a piece of it.
Keeping that streak alive for the Yankees. 4 runs or less.
Coming into this game, 10 straight starts. Yankee pitching has allowed just 4 runs or less, and over that stretch they've gone 7-3. Yankees out of the break 6-1. The Blue Jays out of the break 5-2. There's a liner into center field. That's going to hang up for Ellsbury. Kelly closes out the 7th. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays trailing by 2. Bautista's 3-run home run off Hiroki Kuroda. Bautista homered again in the 3rd inning, but the Yankees just came back, and the Blue Jays staring 17 straight losses right in the eyes here tonight again at Yankee Stadium.
Mark Buehrle just did not have it today. His pitchers were in the middle of the strike zone. He didn't have a good breaking ball, and the Yankees jumped all over him. A team that really hadn't been hitting all season long. We heard it from all the Yankee people. We just can't score. Well, they scored early and often tonight. The Blue Jays offense got off to a fast start, and now it's a battle of the bullpens, if you ask me. We saw Sean Kelly, we saw Huff, we saw Todd Redmond, who did a great job, and now we're going to see Brett Cecil into the ball game for the 41st time. 0-3, 377 earned run average. John Gibbons likes to match up his relievers lefty on left, so he'll get Jacoby Ellsbury. He's got Brian McCann do this inning. Bullpen's got to hold him right here and see if the offense can win this one late for him.
Juan Francisco started at first base. He moves across to third base as Dan Johnson came on to pinch hit for the pinch hitter. Munenori Kawasaki's out of the game. Johnson takes over defensively at first base. So we head to the bottom of the seventh. Cecil trying to keep it a 2-run deficit for the Blue Jays. Todd Redmond with another fine outing tonight. Redmond threw 3 innings, allowed 2 hits, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 4. Redmond threw just 40 pitches in his 3 innings of work. Jacoby Ellsbury is 0 for 3. He goes after the first pitch. He should be 0 for 4. He grounds out for the 3rd time to the second baseman. He is 0 for 4. Carlos Beltran will bat. Turn around and hit right-handed again. He homered off of Mark Burley with 1 out in the 3rd. First of 2 home runs the Yankees hit in that 3rd inning. That's where they overtook the Blue Jays. They scored 4 runs on 5 hits in the 3rd inning off Mark Burley.
And the one that really hurt, Ichiro Suzuki, the 3-run home run, the difference in this ball game, his first of the season.
Beltran chases that low fastball. He's behind 0-2. Ichiro with a walk and a home run. He's also struck out. Pretty good pitch. Looked like strike 3.
Good fastball right there for a Brett Cecil, right at the bottom of the strike zone, right where you want to live.
Beltran strikes out on that good curveball. 2 down. Rogers customers can watch the Blue Jays on Sportsnet live on your smartphone. Visit RogersAnyPlaceTV.com/sports to get started. Cecil retires the first 2 batters here in the 7th. Brian McCann is 2 for 3. Breaking ball missed. It's 2-0. McCann turned 30 in February. Spent 9 years with the Braves in Atlanta. Might have broken his bat. Hits it right to Francisco, who was playing in the shift, and the inning is over. Good inning for Cecil. When we come back, maybe the best chance for the Blue Jays. Melky Cabrera will lead things off. Jose Bautista with 2 homers, and Deanna Navarro on the Baltimore Orioles. Game time is 7:07 p.m. You can help determine the T-shirt that will be given away to the first 15,000 fans. You can do that by voting on Twitter by using the hashtag ConnectJays. To view the T-shirt options, visit BlueJays.com/T-shirt vote. New pitcher for the Yankees is big Dylan Betances, who's become a very important pitcher for the Yankees.
Crazy numbers for Betances this year. 4-0, 149 earned run average. Those 13.5 strikeouts per 9 innings is the highest mark in the major leagues this season. 91 strikeouts. You see that right there in just 17 walks and 91 strikeouts. Most, as you would figure, among major league relievers. Big fastball and a big breaking ball.
The Yankees bullpen leads the majors in strikeouts coming into this game. They had 368 strikeouts. So Melky Cabrera in the third spot for the Blue Jays. There's that big fastball and nice play by McCann. And he throws it high, but fortunately, Dylan Betances is 6'8". McCann made a nice grab of that hot shot right near the bag at first.
With a long wingspan also when you talk about 6'8". Melky Cabrera taking a look at the replay on that one. Clearly beats him at first base. Heck of a play by McCann at first. Playing because Mark Teixeira's out and now throws it. You can't throw it over this guy's head. 6'8", wingspan, and he comes down on top of the base right before Melky gets there.
Nice athletic play by Betances. He gets ahead of Bautista with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Managing a game is partly putting guys in position to help your team win. And this has worked out nicely for Joe Girardi right here. You got the best Blue Jay hitters coming up in the 8th inning, and they have their best setup man facing them, Betances.
Bautista behind 0-2. Fouls back that fastball. 98 miles an hour on the radar gun. This is what you were talking about earlier. These specialist pitchers, but they all throw hard. There are bullpens around the majors that feature 4 or 5 guys that throw 95 and above.
And this guy is nasty.
Bautista reaches for that slider. Roberts out, and it's off his glove. Bautista will end up at second. The outfield was playing deep, of course, with Bautista batting. He's homered twice tonight. He hit that slider right off the end of the bat. Roberts knew that he was the only one that was going to have a chance to make the play.
And he was there. He could have made the play. Heads back and runs, and the ball keeps floating on him. He gets his glove up, and it's right off the edge of the glove. Looked like a ball that a play could be made on. But Bautista will take it for extra bases. 3
extra base hits tonight for Jose. He has homered twice, and now he's doubled. He's 3 for 4. Down to Navarro, went around. He didn't agree with the call. He looked quickly to Rob Drake, the home plate umpire, but he called him for the swing. Downer is 1 for 3. Bautista has raised his batting average to 297. So fly ball to left. Easy play for Brett Gardner. 2 down.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Times Square, New York, busy as it always is on a Friday night. Juan Francisco, he's got the power to tie it up. 15 home runs. He's 1 for 3 tonight. This is an interesting matchup. Everything Betances throws is hard.
He can turn around anybody's fastball. He just has to make sure he gets himself a strike. Breaking ball down and in. Francisco had his first 3-hit game since May yesterday. He's already had one base hit tonight.
He doesn't have an official at bat against Betances. Another slider and another strike. Boy, that's the one thing Betances has really done. He's really refined his ability to throw that breaking ball over for a strike.
Early in the count, he'll use it to strike guys out. But he'll throw it over early in the count, and now Cervelli's going to go out there and talk to him and say, hey, don't throw this guy a strike now.
Now you can bury that slider in the dirt.
Another reason why he goes out there, Bautista's out at second base. He probably went out there and said, okay, I'm not going to throw a sign down right here. This is what I want from you, just in case.
He is set. Breaking ball in the dirt, just as expected. Betances had always been a starter in the minor leagues, and they projected that that might be the best role. But he went to the Arizona Fall League this past off season, and there were no spots as a starter. He was forced to work out of the bullpen, and that's where he really blossomed. There's a breaking ball that gets away from Cervelli, but he's got time and throws to first. So the inning is over. We go to the bottom of the eighth. It's a 6-4 Yankee lead. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Speakeasy, only the notorious get in. Enter for your chance at SleemanSpeakeasy.ca.
Jose Reyes is going to get the play of the game because of this play right here. Runner at third base, 2 outs. Derek Jeter at the plate, hits one in the hole. And Jose Reyes catches and fires on one hop all the way across the diamond to save the Blue Jays a run and get Derek Jeter out at first base. Playing some good shortstop right now is Jose Reyes.
So Reyes at shortstop. We'll watch a new pitcher warm up here for the bottom of the eighth inning. Dustin McGowan into the ball game for the 34th time.
Much better fastball his last couple of times to the mound for Dustin McGowan. He last worked in that Boston series on the 22nd. He threw an inning and 2/3 and gave up just a hit, had a couple of strikeouts. His fastball is moving all over the place. He's cutting it, he's sinking it, and he'll pick up his share of strikeouts with it. Tough to square him up when he's on with that fastball.
Chase Headley, 3 for 3. Chases that fastball. That's the one you were talking about.
Boy, and the bottom just dropped right out of it.
Headley playing in his 4th game with the Yankees is now 6 for 13 in pinstripes. Goes after that inside pitch. Dustin McGowan trying to put up another 0 on the board. The Yankees haven't scored since the 3rd inning, but they scored 4 runs on 5 hits in the 3rd to take the 6-4 lead.
Neither of the Blue Jays. Pitchers have settled in. Dustin's always been able to throw really hard. 95, 96 miles an hour. He got beat a couple of times with hanging breaking balls where he gave up big home runs. And I think he's made a conscious effort now of really using his number 1, his fastball.
He gave up a big home run to Leon Viciedo with the White Sox, a 3-run home run on the first pitch entering the ballgame. It's in a Marcus Stroman ballgame. Stroman had a 2-0 lead, and McGowan gave up a 3-run home run.
Also gave up a home run. Deshaun Rodriguez, a 3-run homer off a breaking ball.
High fly ball to right. Bautista standing right on the warning track, makes the catch. McGowan's got that great fastball, but he has a wipeout slider as well, and this is the grip he uses for that great slider.
It started in 2003 when he's in the Florida State League. The middle finger, he'll put pressure on that middle finger and the thumb on the seam to get a better grip on it and really spin it out of his hand. The middle finger must stay on top, I think, for him to be successful. And when it's not, that's when you'll get the hanger or the spinning slider up there that can get hit and hit hard.
Yeah, you drop that hand underneath that baseball and it becomes kind of a cement mixer. It just backs up and becomes basically a batting practice fastball.
But when he is on, when he is staying on top of it, he pulls it down. It's a strikeout pitch for Dustin.
Ichiro Suzuki got to start in right field tonight, and he delivered the key blow of the game. A 3-run home run off of Mark Burley in the 3rd. This is another foul ball into the seats. That is Jeff Francis, the Canadian, on the left of your screen. Their closer is David Robertson on the right. Jeff Francis, we saw just before the break walking out of the Oakland ballpark as he had been designated for assignment. The Yankees made a deal for him and brought him here to pitch out of their bullpen.
Yankees loading up on some veterans, trying to make a move here in the American League East.
Ichiro strikes out. 2 up, 2 down. Derek Jeter has been the captain of this Yankee team. He's now 40 years old, and he's a highly regarded mentor on his team, even to the pitchers. And he's talking to Dylan Betances, who had a good inning of work, gave up a blue double, but nothing more. Had a strikeout, but Jeter never misses an opportunity to teach and mentor some of the younger players. There's a drive into center field off the bat of Brian Roberts. Ghost is there. So the Blue Jays go quietly in the 8th. The Yankees go 3 up, 3 down in the 8th. The Blue Jays will bat in the 9th, down by 2. David Robertson, the closer. Ken Reed and Uncle Osmac. On Pacific, how about a little more baseball? Top of the clock. You'll see the Orioles in Seattle take on the Mariners. Felix Hernandez will start against Kevin Gausman. The Orioles beat the Mariners last night 4-0. Wei-Yin Chen improves to 11-3 with that win. They beat Asashi Iwakuma. And the big hitter in the game, how about Delman Young with a 3-run home run? They scored all their runs in one inning.
David Robertson into the ball game. There are his numbers. He pitched in last night's game to get the save against the Texas Rangers to run his saves to 25 out of 27. He threw 17 pitches, had a walk, and a couple of strikeouts, lowering his earned run average to 239. He too is a big strikeout pitcher. 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. Strikeout to walk ratio of 6-1, which is outstanding. One guy's coming in, not walking anybody, and setting down the team in order and wiping them out with strikeouts. And Robertson can do that with a very good breaking ball.
Colby Erasmus is the DH tonight for the Blue Jays. He's gone 0 for 3, but he has hit the ball hard twice. He lined out to the second baseman and lined out to Chase Headley, who was playing behind second in the shift. So the shift has gotten Erasmus twice tonight. Robertson jumps ahead with a fastball.
And this, again, is a good guy right here, Robertson, to maybe take a shot to go the other way. All you have to do is hit a ground ball to straightaway shortstop, and you can start a rally here in the 9th inning.
Blue Jays need a base runner. This is going to drop right into the glove of Chase Headley. One down now for a preview of what's coming up next on Connected. Here's Ken Reed and Uncle Osmac. Reminder, that's coming up next right after this ball game. Colby Erasmus is 0 for 4. Ryan Goins has a hit tonight. Blue Jays have been out hit 11-9 by the Yankees, and they trail 6-4.
Robertson's going to face 3 left-handers, at least 3 to start this inning right here, and he has handled the lefties this year. His fastball's got that cutting action on it, and then that hard overhand curveball, making it tough for the lefties.
Everybody was questioning whether or not David Robertson would be up to the task of taking over for Mariano Rivera. And of course, he's not in Rivera's class just yet, but he has done a nice job for the Yankees.
He's got good stuff. And he and Dylan Betances is a powerful 1-2 combination at the back end of a ball game.
A terrific 8-9 combination for the Yankees. Goins strikes out. Another strikeout for the Yankee bullpen. 2 more tonight. They have 370 strikeouts this season.
And this is how you handle left-handers right here. He's faced him now 77 times. He's only given up 11 hits this year versus the left-hander. Hard fastball that time up.
Number 9 hitter is Anthony Gose, trying to keep the hopes alive for the Jays. Goes after the first pitch. Jeter behind second, does a 360, and McCann can't pick it out of the dirt. Gose is aboard. I think that ball may have hit Anthony Gose as it skipped past McCann. It should be an infield hit for Gose. A 2-out single.
Jeter got to it, spun all the way around. It looked like it was in the dirt, and McCann couldn't come up with it. And you're right, I think that ball hit Anthony. One more time, up the middle, goes down the line. You see McCann stretch for that one, and it got him.
In fact, he hit him right in the ribs as it skipped over McCann's glove. Jeter with a 360 bounces it to first. McCann never got a glove on it, and it hits Ghost right in the rib cage.
One of those throws where you can't pick it, you have to wait back on it. It just wasn't close enough for him. It was an in-between hop.
There goes Ghost, and Reyes takes his strike. No stolen base, defensive indifference, but now Reyes is behind 0-1. Reyes represents the tying run. He's late on that pitch and fouls it off. Robertson ahead.
Well, you can see that cutting action on that fastball as Reyes went to swing the bat. That thing got right underneath him and right in on his hands.
Robertson learned from the best, Mariano Rivera. Ballgame. Reyes strikes out. Robertson strikes out 2 in the inning, and the Yankees win the opener. Ichiro Suzuki, the big bat for New York tonight.
Well, it looked like the Blue Jays, they did not take batting practice today. They were going to turn it around. The first inning, Jose Bautista gets the green light, 3-0, gets him on top with a 3-run home run. Kuroda looked shaky early on, but that was all the Blue Jays could do. They scored another run in the third inning on a Bautista home run. The Yankees get enough hitting against Burley to win yet another game against the Blue Jays here at Yankee Stadium.
17 straight losses for the Jays in New York. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Connected. Ken Reed, Navanka Osman.